Good morning, everybody. My name is C.H. Vinay Bharadwaj, and I am from Tribly, first year of Section A. Today, I am going to explain about English PPT, and my topic is about conceptual video, and my topic is about how to overcome the barriers of listening. How to overcome the barriers of listening. There are few steps or tips or tricks to overcome the barriers of listening. Tip number 1 is minimize distractions. Number 2 is prioritize listening over speaking. Number 3, reduce outside noise. Number 4, practice reflecting instead of defaulting. Number 5 is ask questions. Number 6 is listen fully before giving advice. First one, before entering into the topic, let's discuss a few information about barriers. I mean, what is mean by barriers of listening? What is the meaning of barriers of listening? A barrier to listening is anything that is physically or physiologically hindering you from recognizing, understanding, and accurately interpreting the message that you are receiving. It's nothing but while we are listening or while we are listening physically or physiologically uh, or understanding or recognizing is something which disturbs us. It's nothing but barriers. There are for example, a teacher is explaining a topic and we are listening to the topic, and due to some issues, due to some problems, due to some distractions, due to some distractions, disturbance, we may not hear what, we may not understand what teacher is saying. And these process is nothing but barriers. I mean, this incident, while teacher is explaining, we our mind distracts by something. That's nothing but barriers. And there are types of barriers. It may be physically, it may be mentally, etc. That is nothing but barriers of listening. Okay, first one is minimize distractions. There are several tips to minimize distractions. In minimize distractions, there are several tips to minimize distractions. Tips to help reduce distractions and increase your focus. There are few tips to reduce distractions and increase your focus on what you are hearing, on what you are concentrating. Tip number 1 is have a plan the night before. Consider writing down 2 things that must get completed in order for that day to be productive. Okay, the meaning is nothing but make a plan before you go to the bed. Write 2 things in notebook. That first one is the thing that must get complete, and another one is productive. Okay, next one, turn off the distractions. Distractions is nothing but its type of disturbance, etc. Turn off that. Turn off in the sense, uh, avoid the distractions, disturbance, etc. Next one, get comfortable. Feel free while you are listening or understanding any topic. Don't uh, don't distract your mind. Yeah, distract in the sense, don't be moody of. While you are listening, don't think about other one. For suppose you are listening to a lesson, you no need to think about the other things that you may think about the other things like Suppose a fighting was happened between you and your friend. You no need to think that while you are listening. Okay. So get comfortable, feel free while you are listening, and practice meditation. This is the best trick I would mention you. It is nothing but practicing meditation. There are many benefits by doing meditation. Due to this meditation, our mind gets relaxed. We feel very relaxed. Uh, our tension will be relief. Our tension will be gone, and our mind will be in a peaceful way. Next, set smaller goals. Set smaller goals. It's nothing but take a piece of paper or a book, write down each and every points. For example, a teacher gave you a assignment to complete in time, that you need to complete 3 days of that you need to complete in 3 days. Then what you need to do is just take a book and you write step by step. Okay, I'll complete this today or tomorrow. I'll complete this today or tomorrow, and I'll complete this today. I'll complete it now. Like that. Set smaller goals. Okay. Today I will read the book, and today I'll read the book and I will learn 2 formulas. It's a smaller goal. Set smaller goals day by day. And sleep. This is the main important thing. Sleeping is must and should you need to do, because from morning to till you go to the bed, you do a lot of work. While you are doing, your mind gets disturbed. So you need to take rest. In order to take rest, you need to sleep so that your mind gets enough rest and you will be active while you wake up the next morning. Next, use visual reminders and reward yourself. Just now we have discussed a set smaller goals, right? After completing your work, just reward yourself. For example, your assignment has been completed today itself. Then what you need to do is, after I after I, after the completion of my assignment, I will prefer to eat chocolate. It's kind of happiness. That's the way to reward yourself. Next, prioritize listening over speaking. Give the other person room to speak. During any conversation with a coworker, wait until they're finished speaking before you respond to the show. Respect for what they are saying. Finally, observe your listener reactions as you talk. Here, what they're saying is nothing but prioritize listening over speaking. What is mean by prioritize listening over speaking? Just you need to listen what the opponent, what the person who is talking with you need to listen to him until he completes his speaking or his discussion. Don't interfere or don't talk while he is discussing with you anything. If you interact, if you come in middle, there will be a disturbance or there will be a negative vibe, negative impression on you by that opponent or the speaker who is speaking with you. So what you need to do is listen what he is saying. Let the speaker complete what he is saying. Then uh, observe what he is saying. Then think what you're gonna speak with him. Then at last, after end of his speaking or discussion, then it's time for your turn to speak. Then you give a solution or a what we say, you give a solution or any words, any feedback to him. And next step is reduce outside noise. We generally know that there are a lot of disturbances in outside. For example, a vehicle is going on, or due to traffic sounds, we get lot of disturbance. So we need to reduce the sound. If outside noise is your main problem, you can soundproof your house or apartment several ways. Caulk cracks in your window frames, install heavy sound damping curtains, or use window inserts to reduce 50 to 70% of the noise, as well as block drafts to low energy bills. These are the few tips to reduce the outside noise. See, we generally, uh, while we are in, actually, in this generation, there are a lot of population, heavy traffic. There will be a lot of disturbances in our surroundings, right? So, in order to reduce that surround disturbances, a few tips are enough. They are install, I mean, feed, uh, adjust your room with the proper windows so that it should be 50 to 70% of noise reduced windows. There will be in market we'll get mm, 50 sound reduced windows. It will be helpful for you to reduce the sound. And if you are in apartments mainly, there will be a lot of disturbance, right? So close the windows, close the doors, uh, switch off uh, fans, televisions, etc. Uh, these are few tips to reduce the noise, and it will be helpful to us. Next one, practice reflecting instead of deflecting. Okay, practice reflecting instead of deflecting. This shows that you are genuinely invested in their side of the conversation to listen effectively. Keep deflecting to a minimum and try reflecting instead. Reflecting involves paraphrasing back to the speaker what they have said. See, the meaning of the above sentences is nothing but while a speaker or while your friend is discussing a problem with you, or he is discussing an important topic with you, what you need to do is start reflecting instead of deflecting. It's nothing but you listen what he's saying, you analyze what he's saying, and you think what's if he is sharing a problem with you, you think the problem and think a solution to that problem, and you do not oppose him. Here opposing, here deflecting is nothing but opposing, reflecting is nothing but supporting. Here nothing but how can I say is, see, your friend face a trouble, and what you need to do is you need to support him, you need to encourage him. Rather than that, you should not do, no, I won't agree with you, you are wrong. You should not oppose him, you need to support him, keep support him. How, okay, nothing, no issues with that, we can solve that problem, nothing will happen. You need to encourage him, you need to support him. That's the meaning of this slide. And next, ask questions. Ask questions. How you ask questions? There are few tips. There are few tips to ask several questions. Tip number one is plan your questions. Okay, you need to plan questions before you are going to ask a question. I mean, a half an hour before or a day before, you need to plan which questions should I ask, whether this question is correct or wrong. You need to think whether this question is proper or improper. Like that, you need to plan your questions. Next one, know your purpose. Okay, you need to know whether the question is purposeful or impurposeful. Nothing but if you are going to ask a question to a sports person, you need to ask regarding that topic. You should not ask like who is the prime minister of India. We should not ask like that, right? You need to ask questions regarding sports. It is purpose or in purpose, like that. Open conversation. You need to interact with them in an open way. Open conversation. Conversation is nothing but interacting between two people. Interacting goes between two people is nothing but conversation. Next one, speak your listener's language. Okay, speak your listener's language. For example, you are going to attend a interviewer who is who knows only Hindi. Okay, who knows only Hindi. Then what you need to know is you need to speak Hindi so that he is comfortable with that. So he can answer properly to that questions. Use natural wording. And next one is follow general questions with specific ones. Okay. You need to follow some questions with specific questions. You need to follow general questions with specific ones. Some a few questions will be that you need to ask specific, so that you need to follow that steps. Okay, next, follow your questions so they ask one thing at a time. Next, ask only essential questions. Just now we have discussed it, right? You need to ask only essential questions. uh, I mean only mandatory questions that everyone like to know that answer from him. For example, if you are going to attend a sports person, what you need to ask is who is the best player in your mind. You need to ask like that, and you should not ask like how is the sports, how are you, how is your family. These all are not necessary questions you need to ask. Unnecessary questions you should not ask to the interviewer like that. These are the several tips and few tips to ask questions. Next slide is listen fully before giving advice. Okay, listen well, listen fully before giving advice. You need to listen what the speaker is saying. You need, before you are going to advise, what you need to do is first of all you need to listen what he is saying so that you can advise him. Without listening properly, you cannot advise him, right? For example, if teacher sorry, your friend is uh, your friend is talking with you regarding his problem, so you need to advise him. Before going to advise, you need to know what he's talking, right? For suppose he is suffering from health issues, so you need to advise him. How you will advise him? Okay, nothing, no issues, you need to take this type of medicines, you need to take this much of food, you need to take these types of food, you need to take this much of rest. You need to advise like this. But before you are going to advise, you need to listen, right? If you are not listening, you don't know what he's saying. For suppose if you don't know, if you are not listening to him, then what will you advise him? You cannot advise him. You don't know even what problem he is facing, right? We don't know what problem he is facing. So it's nothing but clearly listen is a skill that we can all benefit from improving by becoming a better listener. You can improve your productivity as well as your ability to influence, pursue, and negotiate. What's more, you will avoid conflict and misunderstandings. All these are necessary for workplace success. Okay, just now we have discussed it, right? By advising him, you will be you will be avoiding misunderstandings so that you will get a positive vibe, positive impression on your friend, so that what he, if he is gonna face a problems in future, first he prefers you, because he has a confidence that he had a confidence on you, that you will advise him, you will encourage him in that way. So while your friend or while anyone, while speaker is saying to you something, first of all we need to listen properly what the speaker is saying. Then at last, if they ask us to advise, at that time we need to advise. At last, thank you. Thank you, one and all. My name is Vinay Bharadwaj, signing off. Thank you.